And moving along to Rod Rosenstein. He is, well, I watched that video that
Well, he's the
saw.
deputy,
Yes.
he's the deputy attorney general. And he was getting grilled last week in Congress.
And we watched a video that really revealed some of his body language. It's worth going and finding it online. And the woman who does these videos where she talks about body language that's being exhibited by people in court cases or on television or in interviews, she's really good. She breaks it down point by point, and you can kind of see what she's talking about because she knows how to say, oh, look, their eyes are looking this way. They're accessing this part of their brain, or, the movement in their neck or whatever. She really breaks it down, and she had a lot to say about his.
Yeah. And you know her name, by the way? I don't know it offhand, but anyway, she's got a website. We should probably tell folks the website so they can go out and check it out for themselves.
Bombardsbodylanguage.com.
But the thing about it is that, I don't know if she's 100% on it. I know no body language tells are 100% accurate except for one, which is according to FBI body language expert here locally. There's one tell that's like 100% accurate. Everything else has to be interpreted in context. But on this particular analysis of Rosenstein, I thought she did a particularly good job of going through and catching particularly the little head nods and little head shakes that he would make that, frankly, if you were watching it live, which I did, you wouldn't necessarily catch all of those little itty-bitty movements. But when she slows it down, you can see where he's actually confirming things that are being asked of him with his body language, even though verbally he's saying
them.
He's either denying him or he's saying, I can't answer that question, right? That's really what's going on. So it's really an interesting study. I mean, when I watched... Go ahead.
I have to ask you, what's the tell? What's the FBI tell that's...
Touching the back of your neck.
And what does that mean?
You're lying.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So when I watched this last week, because I watched it live last week, and now everybody's going to be touching the back of their neck, by the way, at home. Like, I can't stop touching the back of my neck. I can't stop. So I'm not lying. I swear I'm not lying.
If your triceps are tight, it's
it's because my tricep is tight, honey. I was not out drinking. My tricep is just tight. Okay. So anyway, I watched this thing, and I watched it live, like I said, at regular speed. And I'll tell you, it really made me uncomfortable. His behavior in this setting was totally wrong, in my opinion. To him, it seemed like it was funny. I mean, there was a lot of things wrong with his body language. And it just put me ill at ease, and it made me think there's something seriously wrong with this guy, the positions he's taking. He's being deceptive or something. There's major things going on deep inside of him psychologically that are manifesting in these in inappropriate behavior in this particular setting. And one of the behaviors that I thought was so inappropriate was all the laughing. I mean, it was like a laugh fest. He thought every question was funny. He couldn't help smiling, his big old smiles, smirking at everybody. Another thing that he did throughout, and I'd encourage you to go out and watch his testimony or watch this body language analysis, which, like you said, it cuts it down about 1 hour total. So it's very something you can get through at least in an hour and not have to watch the entire full day of hearings. Which I did do last week.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Absolutely. I was sick, so I really didn't have anything else to do. And that was on, and it was fascinating, and I was just watching it. Again, he put me very ill at ease. There's a lot of eye rolling that he did, and she's great at catching some of that, and you can see when you really slow it down. He rolls his eyes at the Republican questioners all the time. All the time in his testimony. They're supposed to be his boss. I mean, don't you get... I know that the millennials today, they all have this different thing. The boss has to... Really, the boss works for you, essentially, and that's the new way. But, I would like to see somebody, when they get called into their boss's office to get chewed out, that they actually look like they're sorry and that they want to fix things. I mean, to me, that's just a real basic thing that I'd like to see, and you didn't see that in Rosenstein. He was very... haughty in the way that he did everything. He refused to make eye contact with the people that were asking him questions. He refused to even look or turn towards people when they were asking him questions like Trey Gowdy and others, which, is just disrespectful. I mean, I don't suppose you have to turn and look at him. But I think what he's trying...
He didn't show any contrition or respect.
That's right. And I think what he's trying to do is place himself above them in authority. Even though they're his bosses, he's basically trying to come in here and say, I don't answer to you, Congress. And that's essentially what he said. You know, I kind of went on a roll because, I mean, this guy, Rod Rosenstein, is a sanctimonious, scornful, smug, smarmy, smirking, sneering, sniveling, supercilious, insincere, ran out of S's there, insincere, imperious, butt-cheek bouncing, conceited, coy, and condescending jerk. And if you watch that, you tell me which one of those doesn't apply, because every single one of those sums up how he behaved during congressional testimony, and he should have been embarrassed about his behavior, in my opinion. Go out there and watch it. Part of the things that he admits to that I think are pretty interesting, you know, with the little head shakes and, again, the tells that he's giving, he essentially admits that he did threaten the House Intel Committee staff. And remember, these are the allegations that everybody's trying to say are like made up, except for these guys are real substantial lawyers. They put all this down in writing, and they said, we felt personally threatened that if we didn't stop trying to get information from the Justice Department to perform our oversight function, that they were going to start personally investigating us. In other words, turn the entire investigatory power of the U.S. government onto you, little congressional staffer, and we'll crush you if you don't leave us alone. That is totally wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. It's offensive. But Rosenstein, based on his body language, admits to that. And if you go watch Jeff Sessions and everybody else, nobody will actually deny it, because even Rosenstein doesn't really deny it when Congresswoman Lofgren from California asks him about it. He first goes on this long explanation. Well, Congressman, the business that I'm in is the business of evidence. And if you want to have someone else come in and raise their right hand and swear under oath that I threatened them, then I will answer those charges. Oh, so you mean you did it, right? Because that's the only thing. Because if you didn't do it, you'd have just said, heck no, I didn't do that. I would never do something like that. That's totally wrong. Right?
It's very uneasy to watch that.
It was, wasn't it, Pat?
You know, and then you watch it and you think about, that's our government.
Right. And he's almost proud of it. That's what I'm saying. He's so smug about the plausible deniability. You know, it's not actually me doing the redactions. Yeah, we get that, Attorney General Rosenstein. We get that. Point is, you're the boss. The buck stops with you. What kind of control are you exerting over your office? None? No, don't believe that for a second, folks. He's not in there letting everybody make their own decisions. He went and said, you redact anything that makes us look bad. You redact it. Put the onus on the Congress to go find it somewhere else, because they're not going to take down my Justice Department with 115,000 people that work for me, as he put it to Jim Jordan. The other thing that he essentially admitted is that he didn't even read the FISA app that he signed. I mean, it's offensive. And he acts like, well, I shouldn't have to read it. He said, they're sworn under oath by a career federal agent. I'm not the affiant. Oh, okay. So, you know, I suppose no federal agent has ever told a fib ever. You believe that for a second? You believe that for a second, folks? If you do, you've been brainwashed. Everybody lies. Everybody lies. It's just a matter of how much, okay? But I don't think he can very well now pass the buck back to the FBI if he's the guy who's supposed to actually sign it. Be like, well, I'm not the affiant, so I just rubber stamp those things. I mean, isn't that what he's saying? Guys, why are you mad at me? I don't have time in the morning. I'm enjoying my cappuccino. I want to talk to Andy. I want to talk to Jimmy. And I just don't have time to go through all these FISA apps. So look, he said it was good. I'm just going to sign off on it. And the other thing that I thought that was really damning was that he admitted, essentially through his body language, that the intelligence operation against Donald Trump started before July of 2016.
Prior to him being elected.
Well, yeah. Well, no, prior to July of 2016, which was the earliest time that they said it had possibly taken place, remember? So, and what's going to happen, it's going to come out that Stefan Halper and some of these others were actually already conducting an intelligence operation against an American citizen who was running for president. This is highly illegal without an investigation being opened up.